Commander Dae-hyun stood on the bridge of his warship. The ship was called the Iron Verdict. It was the most powerful weapon that humans had ever built. Through the large windows, he could see a green planet floating in space. The planet looked beautiful and full of life, but soon it would be dead. Lieutenant Ji-woo worked at her station. She checked the weapon systems. Everything was ready. She looked at her commander and spoke in a calm voice. "All weapons are charged, sir. We have locked on to every military base on the planet, every shipyard, every power station. We are ready to fire." Dae-hyun stared at the planet below. This was the homeworld of the Velcor Empire. 3 billion people lived there. 3 billion aliens who had cheered when their military destroyed a human colony. The colony was called New Sol. 2 million humans had lived there. The Velcor fleet had burned them all. They turned the entire colony into ash and radiation. Then they showed the attack to the whole galaxy. They wanted everyone to know that humans were weak. But the Velcor were wrong. Humans were not weak. The commander spoke again. "Engineering, what is the status of our main weapons?" He kept his hand over the control panel. He was ready to give the order. Chief Engineer Tae-yang answered quickly. "All 12 Devastator cannons are working perfectly, sir. Our reactor is running at 340% power. We can fire continuously for 6 hours. 6 hours was more than enough time. 6 hours could destroy an entire civilization." Suddenly, Communications Officer Hee-jin interrupted. "Sir, we are receiving messages from the planet. The Velcor government wants to negotiate. They are offering to surrender." Complete surrender. Dae-hyun felt his jaw tighten. He remembered New Sol. He remembered his sister Sua. She had been a teacher at the Colony University. She was there when the Velcor ships attacked. She burned with everyone else. The Velcor did not accept surrender when humans begged for mercy. They just killed everyone. The commander made his decision. Denied. Open a communication channel to the planet. I want everyone down there to hear this. Hee-jin worked at her controls. After a moment, she nodded. "Channel is open, Commander. Everyone on the planet can hear you now." Dae-hyun began to speak. His words went out to 3 billion Velcor below. "People of Velcor, 2 years ago, your empire destroyed our colony. You killed 2 million innocent people, men, women, and children. You celebrated their deaths. You thought we would be afraid. You thought we would accept being your victims. You were wrong." He paused. He wanted his words to sink in. "Humans do not forget. We do not forgive. And we show no mercy to those who commit genocide against our people. What you are about to see is not war. This is justice." He closed the channel. Then he turned to Ji-woo. "Lieutenant, you may begin firing." Ji-woo's hand shook for just a second. Then she pressed the buttons. "Firing all weapons now." The Iron Verdict shook as the massive cannons fired. 12 beams of superheated plasma shot down through the atmosphere. Each beam carried the power of many nuclear bombs. The first beam hit the Imperial Palace of the Velcor. The palace and everything within 50 kilometers turned to vapor in an instant. The second volley destroyed their space defense platforms. The military installations turned into clouds of metal debris. On the tactical screen, red marks appeared everywhere. Each mark showed where a beam had hit. Cities were burning. Military bases were gone. Industrial centers were destroyed. Within minutes, the Velcor homeworld had no defenses left. But the Iron Verdict kept firing. Tactical Officer Min-ho reported from his station. "Commander, the Velcor are trying to evacuate their cities. Emergency services are moving people. Should we change our targets?" The commander replied without emotion. "No. Keep firing at the same targets." "No mercy." The bridge became quiet. Everyone could only hear the steady sounds of status reports and the deep humming of the weapons as they fired again and again. Every officer on the bridge knew what they were doing. This was not a battle. This was an execution of an entire planet. Science Officer Yun-hee spoke carefully. "Commander, our readings show that we have started massive firestorms on 3 continents. The ash clouds are growing rapidly. In 6 hours, the planet will enter a nuclear winter. Nothing will survive." Dae-hyun gave the same order. "Continue the bombardment." Hours passed slowly. The green planet changed before their eyes. The oceans began to boil. The continents burned. The atmosphere filled with ash and smoke until they could not see the surface anymore. A gray cloud covered the dying world. Finally, after 6 hours of continuous firing, Ji-woo made her report. "All primary targets are destroyed. All secondary targets are destroyed. All tertiary targets are destroyed. Commander, there is nothing left to shoot at. The planet is dead. Daehyun looked at the tactical display. Where a living world had existed, now only a burned wasteland remained. 3 billion Velcor had paid the price for what their empire had done. He spoke quietly to the helm officer. Navigator, set course for the Velcor secondary colonies. We have 6 more worlds to visit. Navigation officer Kyung-soo turned in his seat. His eyes were wide with shock. Sir, 6 more worlds? The commander explained in a voice without emotion. The Velcor Empire has 7 inhabited planets. They wanted to show the galaxy what happens to weak species. Now we will show the galaxy what happens when you commit genocide. When we are finished, the Velcor will only exist in history books. Set the course, navigator. The iron verdict turned away from the dead world. The crew understood that they had crossed a line. They could never go back. They had become what the galaxy feared most. They had become humans with no limits, showing the universe what happened when the wrong species was pushed too far, and they still had 6 more planets to destroy. The news spread fast across the galaxy. Within hours, everyone knew about the destruction of the Velcor homeworld. On 1,000 planets in hundreds of different languages, alien civilizations watched the footage. They watched it again and again. They could not believe what they were seeing. The humans had destroyed an entire planet. In the council chambers on Nexus Prime, Ambassador Sang-wook stood before the assembly. Nexus Prime was a neutral world where the Galactic Council met. Sang-wook was the only human representative. He stood alone among dozens of alien species. There were feathered beings, scaled creatures, crystalline entities, and forms beyond description. He was outnumbered 100 to 1, but he felt no fear. High Counselor Vrex of the Thane Confederacy spoke first. His 6 arms moved wildly as he shouted, "You have committed an atrocity. 3 billion souls dead, an entire planet turned to ash. This is genocide. You are no better than the Velcor." Sang-wook waited for the chamber to become quiet. Then he spoke in a calm and measured voice. The Velcor committed genocide first. They killed 2 million human colonists without warning, without mercy. Then they broadcast the slaughter as entertainment. Where was the Galactic Council then? Counselor Vrex started to answer. "We issued a formal condemnation." Sang-wook interrupted him. "You issued words, empty words while the ashes of our dead still glowed. You filed reports. You held committee meetings. You did nothing real because humanity was new, because we were weak, because you believed we would accept the Velcor's actions as the price of survival in this galaxy." He stepped forward and looked at all the alien delegates. "You taught us a valuable lesson. In this galaxy, strength is the only thing that matters. The strong do what they want. The weak suffer. Well, humanity has learned that lesson. We are no longer weak." A delegate from the Crystalline Collective spoke. Her voice sounded like chiming bells. "Ambassador, surely you must see that this path leads only to more death. The Iron Verdict is heading to the Velcor colony worlds. Will you truly exterminate an entire species?" Sang-wook replied with a single word. "Yes." The chamber erupted into chaos. Meanwhile, deep inside Earth's military command center, Fleet Admiral Bo-Ra watched the same council session on a screen. She studied tactical reports from the Iron Verdict's campaign. The Joint Chiefs of Staff stood around her. They represented every branch of humanity's armed forces. Chief of Communications Jae-sung made his report. "Admiral, we are receiving messages from 17 different species. All of them are worried about our actions. 3 have issued ultimatums. They demand that we stop our attacks against the Velcor." Bo-Ra replied coldly, "Let them complain. What are they going to do? Enforce their demands? Every species in the galaxy has spent the last 1,000 years relying on the Galactic Council to solve their problems. They have forgotten how to wage real war. We have not." General Huan leaned forward. He was the head of the ground forces. "Admiral, our intelligence suggests that several council races are thinking about forming a coalition. They want to stop the Iron Verdict, the Thane, the Crystalline Collective, maybe the Rokari. Together, their fleets would greatly outnumber us." Bo-Ra turned from the screen. Her face became hard. "Then we will show them what one human warship can do against their coalitions. General, Activate Protocol Scorched Earth. The room fell silent. Everyone knew about Protocol Scorched Earth. It was humanity's secret contingency plan. They had developed it after the New Soul Massacre. The protocol had one purpose. If humanity fell, it would take its enemies down in flames. Air Force General Young Soo spoke carefully. Admiral, that protocol calls for deploying automated warships throughout Council space, self-replicating hunter-killers that will not stop until they are destroyed or run out of targets. Are we really prepared to do this? Bora interrupted him. We are prepared to do whatever is necessary to ensure our survival. The Velcor thought we were soft because we valued life. They were wrong. We value human life. As for the rest of the galaxy, they stood by while our people burned. Let them face the consequences. Back on Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council session had turned into arguments and accusations. Sang-Wook stood in the center of it all. He remained unmoved by the chaos around him. Finally, High Counselor Vrex called for order. Vrex spoke formally. Ambassador Sang-Wook, the Galactic Council hereby demands that the Earth government recall the Iron Verdict immediately. You must submit to a war crimes tribunal. Failure to comply will result in... Sang-Wook challenged him. Will result in what? Sanctions? Diplomatic isolation? Empty threats from bureaucrats who have not fought a real war in centuries? He pulled out a datapad and held it up. This contains the specifications for the Iron Verdict. Every council member will receive a copy. Study it carefully. The Iron Verdict is not humanity's only warship. It is not even our most powerful warship. It is merely the first. Sounds of disbelief filled the chamber. Sang-Wook continued speaking. We have learned from your example. In this galaxy, peace is maintained through the threat of overwhelming force. The strong survive. The weak perish. You allowed the Velcor to teach us that lesson with the blood of our civilians. Now we are teaching it back to the entire galaxy. He turned to leave. Then he paused at the doors. I have one final message from my government. The Iron Verdict will complete its mission. The Velcor will cease to exist. And if any species attempts to interfere, we will consider it an act of war against humanity, and we will respond accordingly. The doors closed behind him. The Galactic Council sat in stunned silence. In orbit around the Velcor colony world of Therax, the Iron Verdict appeared. The colony had a population of 800 million. They had received warnings about what was coming. Evacuation ships filled the skies. They were desperately trying to flee before the human warship arrived. They were too slow. Commander Dae-hyun watched the evacuation efforts on his screen. His face showed no emotion. Lieutenant Ji-woo, target the evacuation ships first. Then hit the surface installations. This time, Ji-woo did not hesitate. Understood. Firing now. The galaxy watched as another world died. Humanity was demonstrating that its capacity for destruction had no limits. The Velcor had wanted to show the universe what strength looked like. Now humanity was giving them a demonstration of their own. One planet at a time, and there were still 5 more worlds left to destroy. 3 Velcor colony worlds were now dead. The Iron Verdict moved through space like an angel of death. It was unstoppable. It showed no mercy. But finally, the galaxy was beginning to fight back. In the Thane star system, a coalition fleet gathered. This was the largest military force assembled in 300 years. 200 warships from 17 different species came together. They had one goal: stop the Iron Verdict before it could complete its genocide of the Velcor people. Admiral Krathex of the Thane commanded the coalition from his flagship. The ship was called the Eternal Dawn. His officers had spent days studying every piece of data about the human warship. They were searching for weaknesses. They found none. Admiral, his second-in-command, reported, "We have confirmation. The Iron Verdict is heading to the Velcor colony at Draxus Prime. If we move now, we can position our forces between the human ship and its target." Krathex studied the tactical display. 200 ships against 1. The odds should have been overwhelming. So why did he feel such fear? He broadcast to the entire coalition fleet. "All ships, this is Admiral Krathex. The humans have shown us their true nature. They are not seeking justice. They are conducting extermination. We cannot allow this to continue. Today we defend not just the Velcor, but the principles that galactic civilization was built on. Prepare for combat. The Coalition fleet moved into battle formation. Then the Iron Verdict dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. For a long moment, the two forces faced each other across the empty space. On the bridge of the Iron Verdict, Commander Dae-hyun looked at the sensor readings. He showed barely concealed contempt. 200 ships. They brought 200 ships to stop us. Communications Officer Hee-jin spoke up. We are receiving a transmission from the Coalition flagship. Audio only, Dae-hyun gave his order. Put it through. Admiral Kraythex's voice filled the bridge. The ship's computer translated his words. Commander Dae-hyun of the UENS Iron Verdict. I am Admiral Kraythex of the Galactic Coalition Fleet. You are hereby ordered to power down your weapons and submit to Council authority. Your campaign of genocide ends here. Dae-hyun smiled coldly. Admiral Kraythex, tell me, where was this coalition when the Velcor massacred New Sol? Where were these 200 ships when 2 million humans died? The Council issued sanctions, Kraythex began to say. Dae-hyun interrupted him. You issued paper. We are issuing fire. Lieutenant Ji-woo, power up all weapon systems. Target the Coalition flagship. Kraythex's voice carried disbelief. Commander, you cannot seriously intend to engage 200 warships. This is suicide, Dae-hyun replied calmly. No, Admiral. This is a demonstration. Tactical, activate full scanning. Show them what they are facing. The Iron Verdict's sensors came to full power. They bathed the Coalition fleet in electromagnetic radiation. On 200 tactical displays across 200 ships, the readings caused panic. The human warship's reactor output was beyond the scale. Its energy shields registered at impossible levels. And its weapons, the Coalition computers struggled to classify them. Finally, they settled on a single designation, Planetary Devastation Class. Kraythex stared at his display. Impossible. No ship that size could generate that much power. It would tear itself apart. His science officer spoke with a trembling voice. Admiral, those readings are accurate. That ship is a flying weapons platform. It is built for one purpose only, overwhelming destructive force. Kraythex made his decision. All ships prepare to engage. Concentrate all fire on the human vessel. For the Council, 200 warships opened fire at the same time. Plasma beams, missiles, particle cannons, everything the Coalition fleet had lanced across space toward the Iron Verdict. It was the largest military strike in centuries of galactic history. The Iron Verdict's shields flared as the weapons hit. Energy readings spiked. Alarms sounded. And then the shields held. Chief Engineer Tae-young reported calmly. Shield integrity at 84%, well within acceptable parameters. Dae-hyun nodded. Return fire. Show them what a real warship can do. The Iron Verdict's main batteries fired. 12 Devastator cannons, each capable of destroying a continent, fired in a carefully planned sequence. The first salvo struck the Eternal Dawn directly. It overwhelmed the shields instantly and tore the massive ship apart. The dreadnought exploded in a brilliant flash. Admiral Kraythex and 3,000 crew members died in that instant. The second salvo targeted the carrier group. 7 ships, each carrying hundreds of fighter craft, ceased to exist in 3 seconds. The third salvo swept through the destroyer screen like a blade through grass. Tactical Officer Min Ho made his report. The Coalition fleet is breaking formation. Multiple ships are attempting to retreat. Dae-hyun ordered without emotion. Pursue and destroy. No survivors. I want every species in the galaxy to understand the cost of interfering with humanity's justice. For 3 hours, the Iron Verdict hunted the Coalition fleet through the system. It was not a battle. It was a slaughter. One by one, the Coalition ships died. Their escape attempts were useless against the Iron Verdict's superior speed and firepower. By the time it was over, 200 warships had been reduced to debris fields. Over 40,000 alien soldiers had been killed. The Iron Verdict had taken minimal damage. Dae-hyun commanded his crew. Scan for survivors, Hee-jin reported. Sir, we are detecting 37 escape pods. They are broadcasting emergency signals. Dae-hyun thought for a moment. Then he nodded. Let them go. Let them return to their home worlds. Let them tell their leaders what happened here. Let them explain what it means to stand between humanity and its vengeance. He turned to face the display showing Drax's Prime. Helm, proceed to the Velcor colony. We have unfinished business. As the Iron Verdict moved toward the planet, the 37 escape pods scattered. They carried survivors who would spread the word across the galaxy. Humanity could not be stopped. The Iron Verdict was unstoppable, and 4 Velcor worlds remained on its death list. The galaxy had tried to stop them. The galaxy had failed. Now the galaxy could only watch in horror, as humanity showed exactly how ruthless a wounded species could become. 6 Velcor worlds now lay dead. Their surfaces were scorched wastelands where nothing would grow for thousands of years. The Velcor species once numbered in the billions. Now only a few million survivors remained. They lived scattered across refugee camps in neutral space. The Iron Verdict's crusade was almost complete. Only one colony remained. But something had changed aboard the Iron Verdict itself. Lieutenant Jiwoo sat alone in the observation deck. She stared out at the stars. Her hands trembled. She could not make them stop shaking. She had pressed the firing controls that killed billions. She had watched worlds burn. She had become exactly what she swore never to be. A monster. A voice spoke from the doorway. "Cannot sleep either?" Jiwoo turned to see Science Officer Yun-hee entering. The older woman's face showed the same exhaustion, the same haunted look that Jiwoo saw in her own reflection. Jiwoo admitted quietly, "The dreams are getting worse. I keep seeing the evacuation ships at Therax, the ones we destroyed before they could escape. I keep thinking about the families on those ships. The children." Yun-hee sat down beside her. "We all have those dreams now. Navigator Kyung-soo stopped eating 3 days ago. Medical Officer Aaron has given sedatives to half the crew. Everyone is breaking, Jiwoo." "Everyone except Commander Dae-hyun," Jiwoo replied. "He lost his sister at New Seoul. Maybe that is why he can keep going. Maybe his pain is so great that nothing else can touch him anymore." Yun-hee spoke carefully. "Or maybe he has lost himself in revenge so completely that he cannot see what we have become. We are not giving justice anymore, Jiwoo. We are committing genocide. We have become exactly what we swore to punish." Before Jiwoo could respond, the intercom came on. "All senior officers report to the bridge immediately." It was Commander Dae-hyun's voice. Minutes later, the senior staff gathered on the bridge. Dae-hyun stood at the tactical display. He was studying a star chart. When everyone had arrived, he turned to face them. He announced, "We have received intelligence from Earth Command. The final Velcor colony at Kessex Prime has been designated a protected refuge by the Galactic Council. 3 species have pledged their military forces to defend it. Additionally, the Velcor government in exile has requested asylum for all surviving Velcor civilians, approximately 2 million people." The bridge fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. They would have to fight through another defensive fleet. More deaths. More destruction. Chief Engineer Tae-yang spoke up. "Commander, with respect, perhaps it is time to consider that we have made our point. 6 worlds destroyed. The Velcor Empire is finished. Maybe we should stop now." Dae-hyun's voice was cold. "Should what? Show mercy? Mercy is what got New Seoul destroyed. Mercy is weakness in this galaxy," Yun-hee said quietly. "What we are doing is not strength, Commander. It is cruelty. There is a difference." Dae-hyun turned to her. His eyes were hard. "You think this is cruelty, Science Officer? Cruelty is what the Velcor did to New Seoul. They targeted civilian centers deliberately. They broadcast the massacre as entertainment. What we are doing is ensuring that no species ever dares to commit such an act against humanity again." Jiwoo challenged him. "By killing an entire species? Commander, I have followed your orders without question. I have fired the weapons that killed billions. But this has to stop. We are not heroes anymore. We are war criminals." The bridge erupted in debate. Some crew members agreed with Jiwoo. Their consciences were finally overwhelming their discipline. Others remained loyal to Dae-hyun. They were still consumed by rage over New Seoul. The crew of the Iron Verdict was breaking apart. Dae-hyun shouted, "Silence!" The bridge became quiet. "I am in command of this vessel. Our orders come from Earth Command. Those orders are clear. Complete the mission. Every Velcor world is to be sterilized. Every single one." He looked directly at Jiwoo. "Lieutenant, you have 2 choices. Follow orders or be relieved of duty. Which will it be?" Jiwoo stood frozen. She was caught between duty and conscience. Around her, she could feel the eyes of the entire bridge crew. This was the moment that would define them all, she finally said. Her voice was hollow. "I will follow orders, sir." Dae-hyun nodded. "Good. Helm, Set course for Kessex Prime. Best speed. As the Iron Verdict moved toward its final target, Navigator Kyung-soo sent a secret message to Earth Command. It was brief. It went on a channel that only the highest military command could access. The message said, Commander Dae-hyun has lost perspective. Crew morale is critically low. Request orders regarding mission continuation. Recommend psychological evaluation of commanding officer. The response came back within an hour. It said, mission is to proceed as planned. Commander Dae-hyun is performing exactly as expected. Crew concerns are noted but irrelevant. Complete the objective. No exceptions. Fleet Admiral Bora Kyung-soo deleted the message and returned to his duties. He felt cold dread in his stomach. Earth Command was not trying to stop them. Earth Command was encouraging them. The genocide of the Velcor species was not just Dae-hyun's personal revenge. It was official human policy, and that terrified him more than anything else. In the recreation area, a small group of crew members held an illegal meeting. Medical Officer Aaron, Communications Officer Hyejin, and half a dozen others who could no longer accept what they were being ordered to do. Aaron whispered urgently, "We have to stop this. We have to find a way to prevent the attack on Kessex Prime. 2 million Velcor refugees do not deserve to die for the crimes of their empire." Hyejin asked desperately, "How?" "The commander has complete control of the ship, and even if we could somehow override his authority, Earth Command would just send another warship to finish what we started." One of the engineering staff suggested, "Then we contact the Galactic Council. We tell them we want asylum. We defect," Aaron said. "That would make us traitors. We would never be able to go home," Hyejin asked quietly. "Can you go home anyway? After everything we have done? After all the lives we have taken? I wake up every morning knowing I am a mass murderer. I cannot live with that anymore." The group fell silent. Each person was fighting with impossible choices. Stop the genocide and become traitors to humanity, or complete the mission and lose whatever humanity they had left. The Iron Verdict moved through space toward Kessex Prime. It carried not just weapons of mass destruction, but a crew tearing itself apart. They had reached their breaking point. One final world waited, one final genocide, and a crew that could no longer bear the weight of what they had become. The Iron Verdict arrived at the edge of the Kessex system. A defensive fleet was waiting. Not 200 ships this time. Over 500 warships from a dozen different species. They were arranged in a massive sphere around Kessex Prime. On the planet's surface, 2 million Velcor refugees huddled in camps. They watched the sky. They were praying for salvation, but they knew it would never come. They had seen 6 of their worlds die. They knew what the human warship could do. They knew their fate was sealed. Commander Dae-hyun stood on the bridge. He studied the tactical display with satisfaction. "They have learned nothing. 500 ships. They think numbers matter." Communications Officer Hyejin spoke. Her voice was strained. "Commander, we are receiving a transmission from the defensive fleet. It is from Ambassador Sang-wook." Dae-hyun frowned. "Our own ambassador? Why would he be here? Put him through." Sang-wook's face appeared on the screen. He looked exhausted. He looked aged by the weight of what humanity had become. "Commander Dae-hyun, I am speaking to you not as an ambassador but as a fellow human being. Please, you must stand down." Dae-hyun was incredulous. "Stand down? Ambassador, have you forgotten New Seoul? Have you forgotten what the Velcor did to our people?" Sang-wook replied. "I have not forgotten. I think about it every day. But what you are doing is not justice, Commander. This is genocide. Real genocide. You have killed billions of civilians, billions of innocent people who had nothing to do with the attack on New Seoul." Dae-hyun shouted. "They cheered when we died. They celebrated our genocide," Sang-wook said. "And now the galaxy watches as we commit genocide and calls us monsters. We have become exactly what we claimed to hate. Commander, I am asking you, begging you to stop. The Velcor Empire is destroyed. Their military is gone. Their government is dissolved. The people on Kessex Prime are refugees, not soldiers. They are families, children." Dae-hyun's jaw clenched. "My orders are clear, Ambassador. Every Velcor world is to be sterilized. No exceptions." Sang-wook looked sad. "Then I have no choice. Commander Dae-hyun, by the authority granted to me by the United Earth Government, I am officially ordering you to stand down, power down your weapons, and submit to diplomatic authority." Dae-hyun replied coldly. "You have no authority over this vessel. Fleet Admiral Bora gave me my orders directly. I answer to military command, not diplomats. Sang-wook closed his eyes. He looked defeated. I was afraid you would say that. I want you to know, Commander, what happens next. I tried to prevent it. The transmission ended. Daehyun was confused by the ambassador's final words. Then Tactical Officer Minho spoke with alarm. Commander! Multiple jump signatures detected, new contacts emerging from faster than light. On the tactical display, new icons appeared. Not alien warships, human warships, dozens of them. The entire Earth Defense Fleet had just arrived. Leading them was a ship even larger than the Iron Verdict. The UN's Righteous Path, Fleet Admiral Bora's flagship. Daehyun stared in disbelief. Why is the fleet here? We do not need reinforcements. We can handle the defensive fleet ourselves, Heejin said quietly. Receiving transmission from the Righteous Path. It is Fleet Admiral Bora's face appeared on the screen. Unlike Sang-wook, she looked satisfied, almost pleased. Commander Daehyun, you have performed admirably. Your mission is complete. Daehyun was confused. Admiral, I have not destroyed Keswick's Prime yet. There is still one Velcor world remaining, Bora replied. I know, and it will remain. Commander, your mission was never really about the Velcor. They were just the excuse we needed. Cold realization washed over Daehyun. What are you saying? Bora explained. The galaxy needed to learn what happens when you underestimate humanity. The council races have spent centuries believing they were civilized. Beyond the brutality of war, they thought humanity would fit into their peaceful order. But peace only exists because no one has been tested. You, Commander, provided that test. She leaned forward. Her eyes gleamed. 6 worlds destroyed, a coalition fleet annihilated, and now 500 more ships sit here, terrified to engage you. In 6 months, you have accomplished what would have taken decades. You have made the galaxy fear humanity. You have established us as the dominant military power, and you did it all while we maintained plausible deniability, claiming you were a rogue commander seeking revenge. Daehyun's voice was hollow. You used me. You used my grief over Sua's death. You turned me into a weapon and pointed me at the galaxy. Bora corrected him. I gave you purpose. You wanted revenge for New Sol. I made sure that revenge served humanity's strategic interests. The Velcor were convenient, aggressive enough to justify retaliation, but not strong enough to truly threaten us. Perfect for a demonstration. Around the bridge, the crew listened in stunned silence. Everything they had done. Every world destroyed. Every billion lives taken. It had all been part of a political plan. Lieutenant Jiwoo felt something break inside her. She had murdered billions for a lie, Bora continued. Now you will stand down. Ambassador Sang-wook will broker peace with the Council. Humanity will condemn your actions. We will claim you exceeded your authority. We will preserve Keswick's Prime as a gesture of mercy. The Council will be so relieved that we are stopping. They will accept almost any terms we demand. Humanity will emerge as both the most powerful and most reasonable species in the galaxy. Daehyun asked quietly. What about us? What happens to the crew of the Iron Verdict? Bora's expression softened slightly. You will be court-martialed. Cannot be avoided. But the proceedings will be classified. The sentence is symbolic. After a few years in comfortable detention, you will be quietly pardoned and given new identities. Daehyun looked around his bridge. He saw the horror in their eyes, the betrayal, the devastation of realizing they had been manipulated into becoming monsters, and he saw his own reflection in their expressions. He said simply. No, Bora frowned. Excuse me, Daehyun repeated. His voice grew stronger. I said no, Admiral. You turned me into a butcher. You made me kill billions of innocent people for your games, but I will not let you use those deaths to build an empire. He turned to his crew. Tactical, power down all weapons. Helm, stand by for coordinates from Ambassador Sang-wook. Communications, open a channel to all ships, human and alien. Everyone, Bora tried to interrupt. Commander, I am ordering you. Daehyun cut her off. Your orders mean nothing to me anymore. Channel open. Hyjin nodded. Tears streamed down her face. Open to all ships, all frequencies. Daehyun took a deep breath. This is Commander Daehyun of the UN's Iron Verdict. I am broadcasting this to ensure the truth is known. Everything I have done was under orders from Earth's military command. It was part of a plan to establish human dominance through fear. Fleet Admiral Bora used the New Sol massacre as justification for genocide. It was never about justice. It was always about power. He paused. I cannot undo what I have done. 6 worlds lie dead because of my actions. Billions have died by my hand. I am a war criminal. I accept full responsibility, but I will not allow these deaths to justify humanity's quest for domination. He finished. Keswick's Prime will not be destroyed. The Velcor people will survive, and I am surrendering the Iron Verdict to Galactic Council authority. Let them judge me. Let them judge all of us. We have earned whatever punishment they give. He closed the channel and looked at his crew. I am sorry. I am so sorry for what I made you become, but we can at least end this with some honor. Power down the ship. It is over. Around the bridge, his officers followed his orders. Relief and grief showed on their faces. The Iron Verdict, humanity's instrument of terror, went dark and silent. The war was over, not with victory but with confession, not with glory but with the painful acknowledgement of what they had become, and perhaps in that moment of choosing mercy over completing their genocide, they had taken the first step back toward humanity.